Hey there YouTube, good evening. Tonight I wanted to show you one of my springtime trash pick finds, which I recently just revived. This is a vintage Radio Flyer Town & Country coaster wagon. I think it's probably from the early to mid 1970s because later models didn't have those large steel hubcaps. They just had red plastic caps on the wheels. Yeah, this wagon's pretty solid. I found it on Easter Sunday, I think, by my sister's house. Me and my mom were at my sister's house for brunch, and on our way home I turned the corner and somebody must have been cleaning their garage, and they had a pile of junk sitting by the curb. And this wagon was part of that pile of junk. And since I had the gray truck with the tonneau cover, I decided to run home really fast, drop my ma off, and get the red truck, because the red truck has the open bed in which I could haul more stuff in, because with the tonneau cover I'm only limited to what I could take. Yeah, this wagon's in pretty good shape. The sides are in good shape. The bottom's in great shape, even though it's faded out and the veneer is popping a little bit. Otherwise the bottom is very solid. Usually these wagons are pretty trashed when I find them, if I find them. The lettering on this side is in pretty good shape, even though it's chafing, but that gives it character. If I decided to keep this, I wouldn't do a thing to it really, because if I tried restoring it, it just wouldn't look the same. All the hubcaps are there except for one. One was missing. The cotter pin was missing on this side too. So I had some cotter pins in the garage and I found one that fit, so the wheel wouldn't fall off. And the biggest problem of this wagon, which was a challenge, also probably why it was thrown out, is the handle was missing. I looked around the pile to see if the handle was there, but the handle wasn't there. Apparently the handle was removed and somebody didn't put it back on. So the wagon sat in the garage for a little while until I figured out what to do. And in late spring I was trash picking in a neighboring city, and I found an old Rubbermaid garden cart, and that's what I took the handle off of. The garden cart was pretty shot. The tires were flat, they were cracked, it was rusty. The plastic bed for the garden cart was all just busted up and crappy. So I took the garden cart home just so I could part it out for this wagon, to use the parts on this wagon. And what I did to fabricate the handle so it would fit the Radio Flyer wagon is I welded a couple pieces of steel stock on each side with a Harbor Freight welder, just a cheap Harbor Freight welder. And I drilled a hole on each piece so I could slide a through bolt through to attach the handle to the wagon. And I got one of those I don't know, locking nuts, whatever you call it, so the nut wouldn't come loose. And so far it's doing a pretty good job. The handle's very solid, even though the welding job is not the best. I need practice with that welder yet. But yeah, so far so good. I took it to my parade today, my city's parade. I loaded up my cooler in it along with my lawn chair, and yeah, I had no problems with it. So yeah, this is my early spring Easter trash picking find, I guess. I think it was Easter. Vintage Radio Flyer Town & Country coaster wagon. Just needed a new handle. Otherwise the wagon itself was in fantastic shape, and I made the handle for it. using a Harbor Freight welder and a toner handle from what's that, a Rubbermaid garden cart. And that concludes the video. Have a good evening. Bye.